Today we're going to make some super smoked bacon on the wood pellet grill. Let's get started. Hello everybody. Today we're going to make some super smoked bacon on the wood pellet grill. Now I have some thick sliced bacon. Now this is already store-bought cured and smoked bacon. But in most store-bought bacon, yes, it has some flavor, but once you super smoke your own bacon, you're going to see an unbelievable difference in the flavor, and I highly recommend it. And I also recommend using a thicker cut bacon for this. It just holds up a lot easier when you put it on the grill. If it's too thin, it'll really start to fall apart on you as we smoke it. So I have about 2 pounds. It should fit on here. And also in this pellet grill, I'm using the jerky / dehydrating racks. The reason is bacon isn't very tall, so I can get a lot more in here if I have more surface cooking area. So I have the 3 jerky racks and the main rack. We're also going to use a smoke tray, and I'll explain why in a minute. And I also prefer this over the tubes. I don't think I have a tube out right now, but the tubes, I'm going to do a super smoke. So a tube would be equivalent to burning 1 row on this. This burns through a snake pattern is the way it's meant to be used. It'll start here and burn through, which is similar to a traditional smoke tube. However, what I like to do is fill it up, and I'll show you how I fill it, and then I'll light all 3. And that way I have 3. It's almost like running 3 smoke tubes at once. It won't last as long, but I'm going to get a burst of smoke, which is great for something like bacon. So in 1 hour, I can get a lot of intense smoke flavor. And if you want, you can leave it go for, say, 2 hours. I think this will last maybe for up to 3 hours when you do all 3 at once. It depends on a number of factors. But so we're going to use the smoke tray. We're going to use some mesquite wood pellets. That's the flavor I'm going to use. And in here I believe I have Competition Blend, which is just a blend of maple, oak, maybe some cherry in there. I forget what I've mixed in here. And that'll be for our main pellet hopper. Now, what happens is, on a nice warm sunny day, like today, you may not need to turn this on right away. You can just run the smoke tray and be safe. Now what do I mean by that? Since this bacon is already smoked and cured, it has some sodium nitrates in it, or nitrites or nitrates, depending if they used pink salt or celery salt. So the food safe zones are below 40 degrees or above 140 to keep uncooked food safe. So what happens is, I like to, even though this still has a cure in it, and you could do a cold smoke, which means you could be in that danger zone of 40 to 140 and it would be okay because it has the preservative, the curing in it. I still like to smoke at 140 or greater, but I don't like to smoke above 200 when I'm doing something like the bacon. So what I'm going to do, again on a 75, 80 degree day in the sunshine, when I'm running this with all 3, I can typically get this well above 140 without turning the grill on. And you can either put a wireless probe in here, some type of thermometer. With this particular Camp Chef wireless controller, I have the controller turned on, but not the grill turned on. And it'll give me a readout. So I have a probe in there. Right now it's fluctuating between 78 and 80 inside my grill with no heat. So I'm guessing when I fill this with pellets and light all 3, it's going to take me out of the danger zone above the 140. If it's colder and it's below that, then I do recommend turning on your pellet grill to the lowest setting. I think this will get me down to approximately 160 or 165, depends on the low setting. So that's what you'll do, but you want to keep it above that, for food safety. Now after I'm done smoking, you'll see I will turn the grill on and get it up to 165 for a little bit. I will cook the bacon a little bit. I want it to be heavily smoked and cooked. Now, not fully cooked, because then when I go to eat it, I'll rewarm it in the pan and it'll cook some more. That'll be the final cook. Anyway, that's the whole process. I just wanted to explain it up front so you see where we're going. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to fill my tray. Now what I like to do is you can scoop them out and then you might start dropping them all over. A lot of times it's easier to just put your smoke tube or smoke tray in your bag of pellets and just fill it up that way. And that way you won't make a mess. So I'm pretty happy with that. So as you can see, we didn't spill pellets all over the deck or wherever, and our tray is completely full. I gotta be careful so I don't tilt it and drop them, but hopefully you can see I have a nice full tray of pellets. Now I'm using the mesquite because if I want bacon, I want that smoke flavor, I want it to be a lot of smoke flavor. Otherwise I'll eat something else. So I like my bacon very smoky. Now if you don't, obviously you can use a much milder pellet like a cherry or something, or an apple. Apple's very popular, cherry's popular. Hickory's going to give you a smokier flavor. We're going to try the mesquite. So we have our probe in here, and that tells us, like I said, we're about 80 degrees, and I'm going to use an electric charcoal starter to light the pellets. But I don't want to light the pellet yet because it'll just make it hot, and I don't need it to be hot yet. So basically what we do now is we'll just put our bacon on our racks. So I'll just put on some gloves here. The baking can be a little messy. And then we're going to light this up, and we're going to look at the temperature. So we'll light the tray and we'll monitor the temperature and see where we're at. See if we're above 140. Now these trays just pull out. Now one thing, I'm not going to put the bacon directly above the smoke tray, because this is going to throw off quite a bit of heat. Any bacon we put above this, it will cook to a crisp. So what I'll do is I'm going to populate the racks, away from that tray. And you can do it any way you want. This way. I like it like this. And try not to overlap your pieces. That's again why I recommend using dehydrating or jerky racks in your pellet grill if you have them. If not, there's also smaller portable racks you can add. Portable like second shelves units you can add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish filling these up, and then I'll bring you back and show you how it looks, and then we'll light the pellets. I'll be back in a minute or two. Alright, as you can see, I filled all 3 of my racks, and I left the space open above my smoke tray, or where your smoke tube would be. See? So I have it all loaded. Nothing is on top of each other. It's all spread out real nice. So now, when I light my pellets, I'll put my tray in here with my mesquite pellets. Now I gotta be careful, I have my temperature probe wire in here. Let me actually take that out of here for a second. We'll light the pellets, and then I'm going to put this probe back in here. So right now I'm going to use my electric charcoal starter, which this is great. If you have a smoke tube or smoke tray, I highly recommend getting an electric charcoal starter like this. It works great. It's a lot easier than matches or a lighter or anything like that. And obviously it's also good for charcoal grill too, since that's what it is, charcoal starter. So I'm just going to put it on the high heat mode, and I'm going to light all 3 rows at once. Now this is going to take a minute or two, so I'll show you how it gets started, and then I'll bring you back when it's fully ignited. So I just hold it right up against the wall of the tray. I'm on row 1, and I have it on high heat. And I believe this thing will get up to something like 1200 or 1500 degrees, so you need to be very careful. I don't know if you can see, but since I've been talking, it's already starting to smoke. Now, I do this until it starts to glow a little bit, then I'll go to the next row, and then the next row. I see it starting to glow. I don't think you can see that from there, and I moved over to row number 2. So once I go down 1, 2, 3 to the 3rd row, then I'll come back again and make sure all are fully ignited and smoldering. And a lot of times you'll want to let this, if it is flaming, let it flame for a minute or two before you blow it out. You want to make sure they're well lit, because you want all three rows of the wood pellets to smolder simultaneously. Row 2 is ignited. As you see, it goes pretty fast when you're using an electric charcoal starter like this. And this is the key to getting the super smoked bacon in a very short period of time. You know, if this were a thicker piece of meat, like say a brisket or a pork shoulder, you can smoke at your normal 250 or whatever. But if you try to have the bacon, it's just gonna cook it well done, and you don't want that. You just want to add tons of flavor. And we're doing this, again, I don't want to use a pure cold smoke method just for food safety, even though it is cured, as I mentioned. Now, I believe I have all 3 rows fairly well lit. So what is nice with this is there's a stage 2. As you can hear, it's much higher, and it's just basically adding air to it to help. It's already been ignited. I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but we have some pretty good orange glow flame, and you should be able to see the smoke. So I just go like this a little bit, make sure all the rows are well lit. Maybe go back to stage 1 if it seems to be a little bit lacking. Give it a little boost. Now just make sure your kickstand is down on here, and I can set it down and let that cool. Looks like we've ignited maybe a little bit of grease, which was on my racks previously. So you can let that burn a little bit. It should go down on itself. You can close the lid if it gets a little out of control, but that's just some excess grease that run the racks burning. So I'm going to let this smolder for a little bit. I'll bring you back one more time, and then we're going to let this do its thing. Okay, it's been a minute or two, and I put the temperature probe under the bacon. That's so we can get our readout the whole time. It hasn't gone up yet because obviously I just closed the lid. And we're going to see. If we are below 140, I will turn the pellet grill on to its lowest setting of 160. Right now it's still reading the outdoor temperature. It's 77. There's a cool breeze going. I think it's in the mid 70s right now today. But as you can see, I'm going to open this up. That smoke tray is doing its job with all 3 lit, and I'm going to monitor this for a little bit. But sometimes when you first start, one of those rows could go out and you'll have to reignite it. Not a big deal. We're going to have the probe up here. I'm monitoring it to make sure it's above 140. Our bacon is set. This is going to go. And so I'm just going to check this. I'm going to give it maybe a good 15 minutes or so, and I'll observe the temperature. And if I have to turn it on, I'll bring you back and show you the reason why. So right now, we're just going to let it build up. The bacon is still cold. It just came out of the fridge. So we're going to monitor this, check it in 15 minutes, and see if we need to change anything. Okay, see you in a little while. Okay, what I've done was I've checked. It's been about 15 minutes or so. Now, this is a fall day. Even though it's sunny and warm, we just don't have the warmth that we would have on a summer day. If this was, say, a June or a July day, in this type of weather, this would easily be over 140 right now. Right now, I'm only around 100 degrees, so I'm only about 25, 30 degrees above the ambient outdoor temperature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the grill on, because I told you I want to get it above 140, and I'm not there. So I'm going to turn this grill on now. This particular controller has smoke settings. It's a PID controller, but you can adjust the smoke. Our smoke is taken care of by our smoke tray. So I'm going to turn this on, but I'm going to have the smoke setting at 0 because I want it to be very stable temperature. With all pellet grills, as you adjust the smoke setting, the way it makes smoke is by having the temperature ramp up and down. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this on, and I'm going to set it to its lowest setting. So right there's low smoke, high smoke, there's 160, and our smoke is at 1. So what this will do is, by having the 160 setting on a cooler day, it should maintain it close to the 160 degree temperature. Because I don't want to totally cook up our bacon crisp. I want to have minimal cooking, but mostly smoke flavor, but do it in a safe cooking environment. So we have this on, and I'm guessing this will probably go for maybe about an hour. So this is going to turn on. If it starts to spike too much on the initial start, because a lot of pellet grills, the initial startup will drive you up well over 200. So what you'll want to do is, in fact, on starting a grill, a lot of them it's recommended to lift the lid. So, the smoke. So I'm going to lift the lid, let it ramp up, get started. It should settle down around 160. I'll close the lid and then bring you back here in about an hour or so when we're ready to take it off. So I just wanted to show you what to do if you're not maintaining that above 140 in a warmer weather. It's cold, or maybe it's even winter time. You definitely need to run the grill. I just want to show you what to do. See you in a little while. Okay, it's been around 3 hours. I've turned off the grill. Our smoke tray is pretty much completed, and I'm going to show you the final result. Now, keep in mind that the amount of time you can smoke this is going to be very dependent on the temperature your grill can keep. So we had this at 160 degrees. Now on the Pit Boss over here, the lowest is 200 on the dial unless you go to smoke mode, which is roughly 180. But I know some pellet grills, the lowest you can go is a true 200. Now, if that's the case, obviously you're not going to let it go for 3 hours, or you're just going to have your bacon burnt to a crisp. This is fully cooked, and all you just need to do is warm this to eat it. And again, so this grill was on 160, so that allowed me to keep it on here for an extended period of time. Now also, depending on the amount of smoke you like, this is going to be intense smoke. That full smoke tray of 3 rows with mesquite, 3 hours, and that's what's going to make the difference. So let me just pull some of this off here. Actually, I'm going to use this tray just to show you some of the color of this, to give you an idea of how this is going to work. Oops. I'll just get this one over here. Show the camera putting on the white tray to hopefully pick up that color a little better. Hopefully I won't lose any of these. But hopefully the camera can pick up that color against the white tray. So, I mean, this is a beautiful browned, golden brown bacon. And that's, primarily from all this smoke. So I'm going to take all this off the grill, put it in the tray, and then give you a final taste test and summary of this. But again, keep in mind, depending on how much smoke you want, if you don't like a lot of smoke, do not do this length of time, or do not do all 3 rows of the smoke tray. In fact, if you don't like as much smoke, you can just use a single smoke tube, and that'll just be 1/3 the smoke, since it's 1 versus the 3. So either adjust the smoke, and also using an apple or a cherry pellet's going to give you less. So I say this in precaution because this is very smoky. If you're a person that likes to eat, a lot of bacon, say you want to or could sit down and eat a ½ pound of bacon at a time, with this bacon you won't need to. In fact, I would be willing to say that for almost the hardest, the bacon lover, the biggest and baddest the bacon lover, 2 strips is going to satisfy you. There's that much flavor, and that's what makes it great for things like putting in a salad or on a hamburger. You don't need a lot of it. 2 strips is going to give you an incredible amount of flavor. It's that smoky bacon flavor that you really want, and you're not going to need a lot of it. So let me get the rest of this off of here, and then I'll come back and give you a little taste test and give you my opinion. See you in a couple minutes. So here we have our final result. This was 2 pounds of thick cut bacon, and you saw I used it on this, a 24-inch model, 24-inch wide model of a Camp Chef grill. But any pellet grill, they're usually 24 or 36-inch based models. So if you have a 24-inch model, I used the 3 upper shelves, which are jerky racks or dehydrating racks. So the 2 pounds easily fit on here with room to spare. I didn't use the main grid, and the smoke tray was here, and I did not put any bacon above it because that would cook much faster or burn up to a crisp. So I try to avoid putting it above that, or if you use a smoke tube, don't put the bacon directly above it. Just giving you that reference so you know how much bacon you could make. We could have probably added another pound if we used the bottom shelf. So you probably do 3 pounds, but 2 pounds easily fits in the process I've displayed here. This is what it looks like. This is that golden brown color. Now again, even though, I mean, it's fully cooked. You can eat this as is right now. It's fully cooked. We had this between 160 and 180 for 3 hours. It's fully cooked. But if I hold this up, you'll see there's still quite a bit of fat. Let me get back so that stays in focus. You can see here, it's not fully rendered down. So even though you might say, hey, this looks like it's burnt to a crisp, it's not. That's the smoke. It's still very flexible, and there's still quite a bit of fat on here yet. But you can fully eat this as is. And I'm going to give it a little taste right now. So don't be fooled by the color. Like I said, it's not burnt. And all you need to do is warm this up. So if you're going to have it with bacon and eggs, or put it in a sandwich, you can just warm that up. If you're going to put it in a salad, just cut it up the way it is. It's also a great snack if you have maybe pets or whatever. You want to give your dog a little treat. As we all know, dogs love bacon. You can break that up, put a little bit of that in their bowl, and they love it. So let me give this a little taste here. Very smoky, very flavorful. Now, I want to point out one thing, and since we made this as if you were making a jerky, so if you do not crisp this up and leave it as is, it may be a little chewier than you're used to, because it's sort of jerkified, if you will. All right, we've dried it out some. Makes it a little chewier. So if you don't like the chewiness, then just put it in the pan and just, get it right to that crispy stage. Then it will be like your standard crispy bacon. It'll break up real easy and things like that. And you can break it up in salad bits. Like this, it is just a little chewy off the grill. More of a jerky style because that's what we've done. But it's very delicious. I mean, my mouth is full of flavor. Smoky bacon flavor. Again, if you're used to eating a whole bunch of bacon at a time, I guarantee you 1 to 2 strips of this with some eggs or pancakes, waffles, 1 to 2 strips on a delicious burger. It's all you're gonna eat. It's that good and delicious. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I recommend trying it. Now, naturally, if you do smoke it for a much less period of time, a shorter period of time, say you only do an hour, then it won't get as jerky like as this. Again, this is an extreme. And I'll just say I like to do this on a day when maybe I'm doing some, yard work or something. It's pretty much a set it and forget it, especially on a summer day when you don't need to turn the grill on. When it maintains greater than 140 degrees, put the bacon on, light your smoke tray, do your chores. When you're done, take it off. Pretty much set it and forget it. In the colder weather, you'll have to turn your grill on. Again, watch the time so you don't totally burn up your bacon, and enjoy. So adjust the times accordingly and let me know, if you try this and what you think of it. But I think if you do this and you dial in that amount of smoke that you want, you're going to love it. You'll never be able to eat bacon out of the package again. You'll grab it and you'll say, there's no taste to this bacon, because once you're used to this, there's no going back. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked it, please click the thumbs up, like, subscribe to my channel, and leave some comments. And if you have any other ideas for things you'd like me to make on the grill or other recipes, please let me know. So again, thank you for watching.